Why does your brain wait until you're safe and still, then hand you back the one moment you'd pay to erase? It's 3 a.m., the house is quiet, your mind is finally empty. And then a sentence you said 6 years ago walks back in, word for word. You flinch. Maybe you even say no out loud to no one in the dark. And now you're wide awake, losing sleep over a version of you that stopped existing years ago. You've probably called this anxiety, but what fires at 3 a.m. is older than anxiety, a program that kept your ancestors alive, running in a world it no longer recognizes. And it starts with a quirk of memory itself. There's nothing wrong with your brain. It's running the exact program it was built to run. You just happen to be lying there awake, taking the hit. To see it, you have to stop thinking about tonight and think about the body you inherited. Today, that 6-year-old memory is only noise, background static you can't switch off. It cost you a night of sleep, maybe a wince on the train tomorrow. That's the whole bill. But run it back far enough to the human you're descended from, and that same flinch was doing a job. The small, sick lurch you feel when you replay a social mistake, for them that was the alarm, the thing that made them smooth it over, apologize, stay useful, stay inside the circle. This isn't a glitch, it's a program. And to see how it hooks you, start with how memory even works. Your brain doesn't record every day evenly. Most of them dissolve. Last Tuesday is already gone. What you ate, what you wore, the walk to work, smoothed over, deleted, no great loss. But a memory that shows up with a jolt of feeling gets handled differently. It gets pressed down harder, filed in ink instead of pencil. In 2004, the neuroscientist James McGaugh laid out the mechanism. An emotionally charged experience pulls in the amygdala, and the amygdala flags the rest of the brain, roughly. Keep this one, it matters. And the system has one blind spot. It doesn't care whether the charge was good or bad. It only clocks that you felt something sharp. So the afternoon you called a teacher mom in front of the class, or said you too when the waiter said enjoy your meal, got stamped important and burned in deeper than 1,000 ordinary days. It stung, so it stayed. And your brain, helpful as ever, kept the receipt. Which raises the obvious question. Why would your body treat a clumsy social moment like a threat? Because once, it was one. Go back far enough and being part of the group wasn't social, it was survival. Alone, a single human is slow, soft, and easy to kill. No claws, no fur, no speed. What you had was the others. People who shared food, watched your back, raised your kids while you slept. Being pushed out of that circle was, in plain terms, a way to die. Cut off from the food, the warmth, the people who'd fight for you, so your brain built a tripwire. Anything that threatened your standing, a mistake, a rejection, a moment of looking foolish, had to register instantly, and it had to hurt enough that you'd never shrug it off. And the strange part is how it built that tripwire. It didn't invent a fresh system for social pain. It borrowed the one you already had for physical pain. In 2004, Naomi Eisenberger and Matthew Lieberman put that idea into words, that our need to belong piggybacked onto the body's older pain alarm to keep us bonded and alive. A year before, they'd watched it happen. In 2003, at UCLA, Eisenberger slid volunteers into a brain scanner and had them play a plain little ball-tossing game called Cyberball. The players were led to believe the others were real people somewhere out there. Then the game quietly cut them out. No more ball, just two others tossing it back and forth and you watching. And a region deep in the brain lit up. The same one that flares when you burn your hand or break a bone. The more left out a person said they felt, the louder it got. A computer, two players who were never real, a game with nothing at stake, and the pain alarm fired anyway. Because some old part of the brain couldn't tell, they're ignoring me, apart from, I'm about to die. So that tells you where you really stand with your own head. Your brain would rather you lose sleep than lose face. Because for the ancestors who built it, Losing face was the deadlier of the two. Now careful, it's easy to run too far with that. Is social rejection really the same thing as physical pain? No. In 2014, researchers led by Chung-Wan Wu looked closely at the actual brain patterns and found that the two overlap, but they're distinguishable. You can tell them apart. A broken heart and a broken arm aren't one injury. What evolution did was quieter. It ran a new signal through some of the old wiring. It borrows the alarm. It isn't the same wire. So that's the recording, and that's why it exists. Now, why at night? Why 3 a.m. in particular, and not on your lunch break? During the day, you've got a manager on duty. The prefrontal cortex, the sensible grown-up part of the brain, sits over the amygdala and keeps it in line. A bad memory surfaces, the manager says, "Not now, we're busy, put it down." And it does. The manager is very good at its job. It has one weakness: it keeps office hours. Because that manager runs on sleep. Rested, it holds the line. Tired, it slips. In 2007, the sleep scientist Matthew Walker and his colleagues scanned people who'd been kept awake and found what they called a prefrontal amygdala disconnect. Strip out sleep and the calm control up top loosens its grip. The amygdala gets louder, quicker to treat a stray memory like a live threat. So picture 3 a.m. from the brain side. The manager has clocked out. The lights are off. Nothing new is coming in to distract you. And the amygdala, left alone with the keys, reaches into the filing cabinet and pulls the file it stamped most important, which by now you know is the one where you looked like a fool. Now, honesty. We can't prove the 3 a.m. timing itself in a lab. Nobody has put cringing at 3 in the morning under a scanner, but the machinery underneath it is well documented. By 2014, Walker and Andrea Goldstein had pulled a decade of this work into one clear line. Sleep is what lets the brain keep its own feelings in check, and losing it tips the balance toward the amygdala. The manager goes home, the alarm gets the room to itself, and there's one more turn to this, the cruelest one. Because at 3 a.m., replaying that moment, you are performing for someone. The question is who? You think you're performing for everyone, the whole room, all the people who saw it, and you're certain still think about it. They don't. In the year 2000, the psychologist Thomas Gilovich ran a now famous test. He sent a student into a room full of people wearing an embarrassing t-shirt, the kind you'd swear the whole room would clock and remember. Then he asked the student to guess how many people had noticed. And then he asked the actual people. The student overshot. Every time. Only about half as many people had noticed as the wearer was sure of. Gilovich called it the spotlight effect. You feel lit up on a stage, while the audience is mostly checking its own reflection. Now bring that back to 3 a.m. The people in your memory forgot it long ago. It never made it into their story of the day. To them, it was weather, gone by morning. So the crowd you're bracing against, the audience still watching your worst moment on a loop, it cleared out years ago. There's one person left in the theater, still in the seat, still pressing play. You. So put it back together. From the inside. A moment stung, so your brain saved it in ink. It burned that deep because once, being cast out could get you killed. So your body still files, "I embarrassed myself" under "I'm in danger," and runs it through the alarm built for a broken bone. At night, the part of you that keeps that alarm quiet clocks out. And the crowd it's still warning you about? That crowd is long gone. So keep this if you keep anything. That wince is proof of the oldest thing your body was ever built to do, need other people. It's the part of you that needed the group to survive, still checking, still counting, still afraid to be left behind. And that fear kept every human before you alive long enough to make the next one, all the way down the line, to you. It's a guard that never got the message the war is over. Still standing at a post the world walked away from lifetimes ago. One honest note before the last thought. If this is every night and it's swallowing you, the replaying, the dread, the not sleeping, that has a name. It's rumination, and it shades into anxiety and OCD, which are real and treatable. Knowing why it happens doesn't make it stop. If it's got its hooks in you, that's a conversation for a professional, not a video. So the next time it finds you at 3 a.m., the old line, back, word for word, and that full body wince, there's one question worth taking to bed. If that alarm carried your whole species this far, and it isn't yours to shut off, what would it feel like to stop fighting it and just let it ring? If you want to check my work, the studies are down in the description. McGaw, Eisenberger, Wu, Walker, Gilovich. Read them. Push back. That's worth more to me than a nod.